This man is called Mujtaba Navab Safavi. I call it Navab, so it is easier for you to remember. Navab was a young Shia clergyman who has visited Cairo. This picture is taken in Cairo. You see, he went to Cairo to visit Sayyid Qutb. And after this meeting, he is the man, Nawab, he is the man who exported, or better say imported a lot of ideas of Sayyid Qutb political Islam into Iran. Here is the moment. So what happened here? What happened? Sayyid Qutb. Armin, this is important.
Can you go back to that picture? Can you go back to this picture?
This picture.
Would it be, this picture? Okay, so would it be fair, this picture that you're showing, to say that this meeting is what destroyed Iran? This one meeting here, this is the bridge between the Muslim Brotherhood and now what we understand as the Islamic Republic. This is how the Muslim Brotherhood came to Iran and created the concept of Vilayat al-Faqih, and eventually basically started an Islamic takeover of Iran. This one meeting took down a country. Is that correct?
Absolutely accurate. Absolutely accurate. You are touching this point, that this is the connection or the bridge between Sunni political Islam and Shia political Islam. As I've said, Iran before this moment was a secular country under the Shah of Iran. And during the Shah of Iran, people were practicing Shia, but they were not practicing political Islam. So what happened after this, Armin? What happened is that Sayyid Qutb was believing in recreation of Islamic State, as I've said before, okay? To create Islamic State, you need to apply power, to apply jihad, to use force, to use army, to go to kill the anti-Islamic figures. What happened in Egypt is that based on Sayyid Qutb's ideology, some of the very important governmental figures were assassinated. The most important person was Jamal Abdel Nasser, the head of the Egypt, the president at that time. So even based on his thought and on his teachings, they started to kill Jamal Abdel Nasser. You remember, after Jamal Abdel Nasser, 2 other people also were assassinated, and lastly, Anwar Sadat. You remember this? Those who assassinated Anwar Sadat, they were belonging. Ideologically, they were belonging to the school of the Qutb. Because of that, it is called Qutbism. I repeat again, the school of Qutbism, the school that the Qutb brought the theology of Islam to be an ideology of Islam, based on the ideology of Islam, to unite all Muslims around the world and to create the Muslim Ummah and to create the Muslim Caliphate. So when one of his teachings was jihad or jihadism. You have heard a lot about the jihadism. This man on right is a Shia cleric, Nawab Safavi. After this meeting, he got all the teachings of Sayyid Qutb and brought the idea into Iran and saying that we have to assassinate non-good Muslims. So look into this map. 1, 2, 3, 8, 7 people. Who are they? All are assassinated. All of them are assassinated by Nawab Safavi. By the way, I forgot to say that Nawab Safavi has created a group, a terrorist group named in Persian, in Farsi, it is named the Fadayan Islam. If I can translate it into English, it means the devotees, devoted to Islam, who are devoted to Islam, like this. If I can translate it. So let me name these people. On the right side, look how important people they were. They're on the
So
right side.
just so people understand, I just want to capture what we're saying here so people can have a proper framing. So we have Sunni Muslim Brotherhood represented by Qutb, which is such the key figure that spread the Muslim Brotherhood ideology to the world. And then you have Nawab Safavi, who is Shia, Iranian Shia, who met with Sayyid Qutb, and this is the bridge between Muslim Brotherhood and the Islamic eventually what led to Islamic Republic. So
Right,
Nawab Safavi there on the
right.
right, he's bringing all that ideology to Iran, but he's not just bringing the books and the ideology, he's also bringing in the assassination. In the same way that Muslim Brotherhood was doing assassinations in Egypt and where they are, now Nawab Safavi also is bringing in Iran and assassinating the people who are against the Islamic project. And these are the pictures that you're showing are the Iranians who Nawab Safavi's group, Fadaiyun Islam, managed to assassinate. Yep. So let's go to the pictures and
Yeah,
look at it.
exactly. That is right. Yeah, yeah. Totally true. Totally true. The fair
During Shah's time.
fair explanation. Sorry.
I just want people to, because people don't know, some people don't know the history of Iran. This is all during the Pahlavi dynasty before Iran was an Islamic
Pahlavi dynasty
republic.
during Muhammad
Yeah.
Reza Shah. Yeah, during
Yeah.
Muhammad, before the Islamic Revolution. I forgot to say something. Another important, crucial point I have to explain. Look, this is this person Qutb, as I've said, he created Qutbism. So a school of Qutb, a school of the thoughts of Qutb is called Qutbism. Uh, uh, he first, of course, he was anti-Israel. This is he was anti-Israel, but before to be anti-Israel, he was anti-government
Anti
of
what?
Jamal
Sorry, what are
Abdel
you saying?
Nasser.
Anti what? He was anti what?
Anti, anti-Israel, anti-Israel,
Israel.
but
Israeli, anti-Israeli. Yes,
Israel,
okay.
anti-Israel. But before to uh, be against Israel, he became. Well, this is very, I mean, really something. I mean. Laughable. Before he became anti Jamal Abdel Nasser. Who was Jamal Abdel Nasser? Abdel Nasser was the head of the Egypt and was a Muslim and was practicing Islam, praying, fasting, going to the Hajj ceremony. But he ordered to kill, to assassinate Jamal Abdel Nasser. But here was a question: how a Muslim can order to assassinate another Muslim? This is a
Because it's
question.
not
This is an
takfiri.
this is an important this is an important question, isn't it, Armin? Isn't it an
Yes.
important question to see why a Muslim can order to kill another Muslim? Here comes another of his teachings. As I've said, he brought a lot of teachings. I mean, based on political Islam. One of the his very important teaching is that he brought the idea of excommunication. In Arabic, they call it takfir. Takfir. So, what does excommunication means? The excommunication is a method to say that whoever doesn't believe to political Islam and is not practicing Islam as a polity is an infidel, is a kafir. He's an infidel, although he's practicing Islam, although he is going for fasting and praying, going to Hajj, although he is a good person and help poor people. No, he is infidel. Why he is infidel? Because he is not believing in political Islam. This is one of his very, I mean, of course, notorious but and horrific thoughts he brought to the Muslim world. So he brought the idea of excommunication. What is the outcome of what is the outcome of excommunication, takfir? What is the outcome? It is that he opened the way to kill whoever you doesn't like. You just can uh, give an etiquette to whoever is not standing beside you, then you go to kill him, to assassinate him. So what did happen after bringing the ideology of excommunication, takfir, to consider some person as infidel? So in Muslim brothers started to assassinate top figures, governmental figure in Egypt. As I have said, and you remember, starting from Jamal Abdel Nasser, which was not successful assassination, ending to the Anwar Sadat, Muhammad Anwar Sadat. You remember that he was, I mean, he was assassinated some 45 years ago. But as I've said, this connection between these two clerks, between Sunni and Shia one, what happened? Nawab Safavi, right side, the person right side, he brought the idea of excommunication in Iran, and second, brought the idea of assassination as a method. What happened? In Iran, he said that all these people are not Muslim, although they were Muslims, although
Well,
they
not
were
the last one.
Muslims.
Not the last one. To be fair to that last
What do
one.
you mean? Sorry, I didn't get you. What do you mean?
The last one is not a Muslim. He's our guy.
I know. Yeah, I'll come to that point. Yeah,
Kashravi was he
Ahmad
was our
Kasravi. Ahmad
he's
Kasravi.
our hero. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Let me correct myself. Yeah, you're totally right. No, I mean, so look how important these people were. The first one on left, up left, is Abdul Hussein Hajir. This one, Abdul Hussein. Who was he? Prime Minister. Prime Minister. The second one, Ali Razmara. Who was he? A prime minister again. The third one, the Hussein Allah. Hussein Allah. Who was he? Prime minister again. The fourth one, the fourth one, Ali Mansour. Hassan Ali Mansour. Hassan Ali Mansour. Who was he? A prime minister again. This fifth one, Hussein Fatemi. Who was he? Foreign minister. This sixth one, Ahmad Zangene. Who was he? Minister of Culture. And the last one, and the very most influential figure, I think I advise Armin, you make a session about Ahmad Kasravi, if you have not already had any session about the Ahmad Kasravi, to bring his thoughts and his influential role in Iran and in the region. So in this last one is Ahmad Kasravi, who was a secular reformist author. Ahmad Kasravi was not a governmental figure. No, he was an author. But remember that he was a clerk first. But then he turned against the ideology of Shia in Iran, and he wrote too many books against the ideology of Shia in Iran. And finally, he was assassinated by this person, by Nawab Safavi. So look, exactly.
So Can we highlight that last guy, because a lot of people don't understand this last guy is considered a hero among ex-Muslims, many ex-Muslims in Iran, because he wasn't just a secular activist, he was an ex-Muslim. He was a mullah that turned not just
Yes.
ex-Muslim but extremely aggressively anti-Islam, which was very brave of him to be like that. I mean, he was assassinated for it, but his writings were aggressively, like, he didn't hold any punches. He was aggressively anti-Islamic, even though he was a mullah himself. And he inspired a whole wave of anti-Islamic content and activism ever since he came. Like, he is one of Iran's heroes, and he is such a shame that he was killed in the way he did. But his books were extremely influential, and he guided many people that eventually came after him. Is that fair to say?
Yes, exactly. And
Right.
yeah, totally right, totally fair. And once again, I repeat, I wonder whether you have heard me right. I advise that you
Yes.
make a session about in your
Yes.
channel, whether in Persian or in English one, to talk about this very important figure in Iran. I mean, if Armin, if Sayyid Qutb is on the top, or better to say, if he is the toppest Islamist figure, Sayyid Ahmad Kasravi is the toppest secular and atheist. Of course, he was not atheist. No, he was not atheist. But he is
He
the
was ex-Muslim.
toppest anti-Islam. Sorry?
He was ex-Muslim, though. He was ex-Muslim. Secular and
The
ex-Muslim.
toppest, yeah, secular and ex-Muslim, yes. So I very much advise that if you have time for you allocate a session of your channel to study and to review the thoughts of the Ahmad Kasrafi. He's killed. I mean, some 70 years ago, but his thoughts still alive. Am I right?
Yes. Yes, very
Army,
much.
you believe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. The reason
Yeah,
why,
quite very much.
I mean, you're the expert, but the reason why you're asking me, I think, is because we consider him our guy. Like, we ex-Muslim activists.
Yes, your guy.
Yeah. We consider him our hero.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, your hero. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a pioneer. Let's describe it in this way. He was a pioneer to criticize Islam or Shia, and don't forget that he was. I mean, he had a meeting, Armin. By the way, he had a meeting with this Nawab Safavi. Not before assassinating Ahmad Kasravi, Nawab went to a let's say scientific discussion with Ahmad Kasravi to convince him that you're wrong, man. You're not true about Islam. What you are saying is totally wrong. He went to a discussion, to a debate with Ahmad Kasravi, but he failed because he couldn't convince Ahmad Kasravi. Ahmad Kasravi was a mullah, was a clerk, he was a clergyman.
Yeah,
he knew all
used
about
to be.
the Quran, Hadith, all the literature of Islam. So he was not, Nawab was not able to convince him. After that, they decided to assassinate him. However, I mean, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these 6 other people were governmental figure. I mean, whether at the level of the prime minister or at the level of the minister, these two ones were ministers, and these fourth figures were prime minister. Very top people but they were governmental figures. Ahmad Kasravi was not a governmental figure. He was an author. He was a thinker. He was a philosopher person, and was assassinated by Sayyid Qutb.
Can I just highlight what you said? So Kasravi, so Nawab Safavi tried to convince Kasravi to come back to Islam, that he's wrong about Islam, but he failed because Kasravi used to be a mullah himself, and he knew Islam inside out, and he knew everything. He knew his education, his understanding was of Islam was a lot more detailed. So he was like he didn't win in that debate. I do want to address some of the comments in the live chat before we move on, right? And also highlight what you mentioned about takfiring, because I think a lot of people need to understand what happened here, right? So the concept of takfiring exists in Islam. It does exist in Islam, and according to Sunni Muslims, there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. The wrong way to do it, it was done by Khawarij. That's why they call them takfiris. And the wrong way is anybody who sins is considered to be by Khawarij is considered to be a non-Muslim. And Sunni Muslims say that's wrong. Even if you sin, you're still a Muslim. You're just a Muslim who's sinning. For example, if you are a Muslim who's drinking alcohol, or if a Muslim who's having sex before marriage, that doesn't take you out of the fold of Islam. That just makes you a Muslim who's sinning, who has to, if you don't repent, you have to be punished for it, right? However, Sunni Muslims do agree that you can takfir people, but not because they're sinning, but because they're denying. If somebody denies, there are many ways for you to be okay for you. So the takfir means that to announce that somebody is not a Muslim anymore. So if I'm a Muslim and another Muslim takfirs me, it means that that Muslim is announcing that I am no longer Muslim. I have done something that makes me no longer a Muslim. Right. So the proper way, the correct way to takfir somebody is not because of their sinning, but it would be because they're denying that Allah exists. They're denying that Muhammad is the prophet of Allah. They're denying the Day of Judgment, some key articles of faith. And when it comes to sin, the act of sinning itself does not make you a non-Muslim. If you deny that it's a sin. So let's say I'm a Muslim and I'm drinking alcohol. You're another Muslim and you come tell me, Armin, why are you drinking alcohol? Don't you know that that's a sin? If I respond, yeah, I know it's a sin. I'm so weak. I should stop drinking. Yes, you're right. It's a sin. Okay. Even though, and if I still continue drinking after that, I'm still a Muslim because I didn't deny that it's a sin. Right. But if you come to me and say, Armin, stop drinking alcohol. Don't you know it's a sin? In that case, if I say, nope, it's not a sin, I can drink alcohol. In Islam, drinking alcohol is not a sin. Now, because I denied something that is mandatory in Islam, a command by Allah, right? Because I denied it, now I can be takfired. It can be announced that I have left the fold of Islam. So this is part of Islamic thought. Before Muslim Brotherhood, before Qutb or before Banna, before all these guys. So Qutb took that idea of takfiring and he said, listen, Islam is political by its very nature. It's part of the DNA of Islam. So all the Muslims who are denying this, who are saying that Islam is just going to the mosque, praying, fasting, and then going home and living your life as if you're not supposed to, make the whole world Islamic, as if you're not supposed to make the whole world submit to Islam, to fight this political, ideological, military battle. If any Muslim denies that, based on the concept that I just told you, you can takfir them, right? So if you are, I don't know, Abdul Nasser, and you think that it's Islamic to have countries in the framework of the framework that the Western power have introduced, you think that is not contradictory to Islamic law and Islamic teachings, then you could be takfired. You're no longer a Muslim. And this is why Sayyid Qutb's ideology was very dangerous, because he considered so many Muslims to be non-Muslims, and his war was not just against the non-Islamic world, but his first war was against the Islamic world, because he didn't even consider them to be Islamic, because they denied the political nature of Islam. Would that be fair to say?
To some extent, yes, but let me put it in my own words. You are totally right that the excommunicate to making excommunicate or making somebody consider somebody as infidel started with saying that if a person commit a sin but doesn't deny it, he is still a Muslim. He is a Muslim, but he's is committing a sin. If he deny that drinking alcohol, for example, is haram, is forbidden in Islam, if he denies, then he is an infidel. Okay, but in Qutb's foul, it is much worse, Armin. It is much, much, much worse. Why? Because for Qutb, it was not a matter whether you drink alcohol or not. It was not matter whether you deny drinking of alcohol is haram in Islam or not. For him, what the red line was that whether you deny the power of Islam, you deny Islam as a ruling system which unite us as all Muslim. If you pass this red line, then you are infidel. For him, it was not important whether you drink alcohol or not, whether you deny it or not. For him, denying the power of Islam, the authority of Islam was red line. So this is much worse. Why? Because how many Muslims, for example, go to drink alcohol? But how many Muslims doesn't believe Islam as an authority, as a political authority? Millions, if not billions. You see, so his thoughts, it's much, much more dangerous than the definition you have given for takfir, for excommunication. So he brought a political definition for takfir, for excommunication. What you said, what you truly explained, was not a political field. It was not a political definition. Yeah, I mean, practicing Islam or not practicing Islam. For him, practicing Islam is practicing power, practicing believing in political power. Was it clear to you?
Yes, it makes complete sense. And it needs to be a political unity based on Islam. Because remember, you said that they wanted to assassinate, Abdul Nasser. But the problem is that some people might be confused here, because Abdul Nasser was also trying to unite all these Arab countries together, right? But again, this is the struggle between pan-Arabism and pan-Islamism. So the Qutb side represents, or the Muslim Brotherhood, basically their ideology represents bringing everybody together under the umbrella of Islam. Abdul Nasser, which is, again, he was considered to be secular, even though he was a Muslim, even though he prayed, even though he fasted. Okay, but his politics was secular, and his method of unity, of bringing all these countries together, was based on an Arab identity, not based on a Islamic identity. So based on ethnicity rather than ideology. And this is unacceptable by people like Qutb. So the war between Abdul Nasser and Sayyid Qutb, it represents the war between pan-Arabism and pan-Islamism. But yeah, go on.
Let me drop you here for a second. In fact, if we want to summarize Qutb's teachings, in fact, being a secular is the red line. Being a secular and not believing in the political power of Islam and authority of Islam is the biggest sin. Drinking, or sexual relation with a woman, or not going to the Hajj pilgrimage, these are not the sin. They are a small sin, but the biggest ever, never acceptable sin is to believe in secular Islam. You see, then imagine that how million people are considered infidel.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
how millions of people, Muslim, are considered infidel?
So can I address some of the comments very quickly? So this, I said all of this to also be able to address this comment by Amit Chai saying, how do they fail? How did these Muslims, can I, what? Let me just,
do you allow me to finish it? I think because I'm
no,
almost
but,
at the end of
oh,
the at the end
okay,
of my
go ahead.
presentation, then I'll come to take the question. Okay.
Okay, okay, sounds good.
Um, so up to here, I've shown uh, that this I've shown that this person, Nawab Sababi, after connection with Sayyid Qutb, brought all his thoughts to Iran. First, the idea of excommunication, the second, jihadism, and third, assassination. So here is another important topic, another very important, very crucial topic. So, we understood that this is Nabab Safavi again, the same person. We understood that he played a very important role. But the question is that, okay, he wanted to import Qutbism into Iran, but he was assassinated. He was hanged by Shah, the Shah of Iran. Very soon after those assassination, I showed you he was hanged, and so what happened? How again after his death, the Qutb's idea came to Iran. Here is the all mysterious and all miserable story of Iran today starts from here. This man had influenced on a very important person who is playing the most authorities in Iran. He was speaking in a mosque in Mashhad some 60 years ago. When he was addressing a group of the uh, young people in that session, a very young teenager, a very young teenager boy was sitting and listening to Nawab Safavi. Nawab Safavi was saying the secular system of Shah is not acceptable for us. Shah is an infidel. We have to assassinate Shah and his ministers and his prime ministers, and we have to bring the power of Islam into Iran. Who was that teenager man who was listening to this horrible figure? The answer is Armin, Ali Khamenei, Iran's today supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. Ali Khamenei himself, in his autobiography, said his story. He said, I was 14 years old when for the first time I met Nawab Safavi in Mashhad in a mosque, and he was, I mean, he was, um, uh, he was telling us about the political Islam and saying that the Shah of Iran is infidel. We have to assassinate them. He says, Ali Khamenei, in his autobiography, he says that I I became, I mean, impressed ever, ever by this man. Look
Well, he
at
used a
this.
much more stronger. He used a word that is a lot stronger than impress. He acted he acted like he fell in love with him. Like he was like I was taken
Of
away
course,
by him. Like I was. What's the word that he used in his autobiography? But he used a very strong word, like as if he was infatuated. Like I think by this man. And yeah, let's zoom into the
yeah.
picture. Yeah,
You look.
is that the right
If
word?
I can show you, if I can show you, I mean, please help me to translate this sentence. You see, something is written here. It's something is written here.
Yes.
This is a script by Ali Khamenei in memorial of Nawab Safavi, written in the name of God. A salute to the pioneer of jihad and resistance in our time, Sayyid Ali Khamenei. Again, I
So
translate it again as much as I. In the name of God, salute to the pioneer of jihad and resistance in our time, now Sayyid Ali Khamenei. So in this picture, he shows that how respectful he was to this terrorist figure. And by the way, if you remember, this is another picture which says a lot. This is a picture stamp. Its stamp is published in Iran in memorial of Sayyid Qutb. Remember, Sayyid Qutb, both people, these two people were hanged in their country. This one, Sayyid Qutb by Jamal Abdul Nasser in Egypt, and this one, Nawab Safavi in Iran by Shah of Iran. So the future, I mean, سرنوشت چی میشه؟ حال ذهنم خسته شده.
Destiny.
Destiny. آره destiny. The destiny of both ended to similar position. Both were hanged, but never Sayyid Qutb was praised in his country by his government. Never.
Mhm.
He's considered as terrorist, and no street, no book, even his book is not allowed to be published. But this man is very much praised in Iran today after the Islamic Revolution. We have a street in his name in Iran, and he has his party Fadayan Islam, devoters to Islam. His party is quite active nowadays. And lastly, which is very important, the Islamic Republic in Iran has published stamp in memorial and martyr. Look here on the memory of the Sayyid Qutb's martyrdom. You look in 1964. Let me
This is
zoom in. A second, please. So here, 1984. Sorry, 1984. They published this stamp in memorial of the memory of the Sayyid Qutb's martyrdom. So, what this year referred to? 1948. It is 5 years after the revolution's victory in Iran, because the revolution became the victory of this Islamic revolution was in 1979, right, Armin? 1979.
Yes.
So here it is 1984. 5 years later. Remember, in 1984, Ali Khamenei is the president of Iran. Remember that. He is the president of Iran. And because he was very much influenced by Sayyid Mujtaba Nawab Safavi, where he ordered to publish this stamp in Qutb's memorial. So, I mean, shortly and in nutshell, I want to stop here then. In nutshell, Sayyid Qutb played an influential role in Nawab Safavi's thought, and Nawab Safavi has played an influential role in Ali Khamenei's thought. Both of them are hanged, but Ali Khamenei is alive. And he is the toppest person
Mhm.
in the government of Iran today, and you
Yes.
know how is he ruling Islam. So
Yes.
I put the full stop here, and then I'll come
So
back to you with whatever
right.
question you have. I'll take.